Hello, everybody. Welcome to Saturday Night Live Art Shows, and I'm Marianne Benoit, and I'm an energy artist and interior designer in Seward, Alaska. And tonight I wanted to introduce to you a new piece of art, which I call Stealth. As some of you may know, a previous career that I had was as a wildlife biologist in Alaska and Arizona. And so I've been creating a lot of art lately that is about wildlife that I have had personal experiences with in my time being out in the field and having up close and personal experiences with these animals and sensing the energy that they have and remembering how these animals made me feel. I started creating this art because I've put together an oracle card deck called A Message from the Animals that is all about these different animals and the different lessons that they can teach us in life if we're just willing to listen. And so tonight my show is about the mountain lion and my experiences with them and what I have learned from them over the years. So the reason I titled this piece of art Stealth is because if you look at the definition of stealth, it means a cautious, unobtrusive, and secretive way of moving intended to avoid detection. And it's perfectly describes mountain lions. In my entire life, I have had numerous experiences with them, but I've actually only seen one time, and I only saw one part of it, which was its butt. And I happened to be driving down a dirt road. It was kind of really remote up in the mountains, uh, close by to where I was staying. I was working as a fire lookout in a lookout tower, and I was going down the road on my way to the little town. The closest town was like 300 people, and it took me like an hour to drive down the mountain just to get to that little place. And I was going down the road, and I turned a corner, and all of a sudden I see the back end of a mountain lion with its big long tail for just a second, and it ran into the brush, and that was the most I ever got to see of one. Um, but that kind of led to my second experience with them as I was doing this job as a fire lookout. I was, living in this little remote cabin on top of this mountain, and there was nobody close by except for one neighbor. And that neighbor had informed me to be on the lookout for mountain lions because there was one around. And I had not seen anything, but one evening I'm in my little cabin where I live by myself up on top of this mountain, and I hear something big jump on the roof and walk around. And I'm like, oh my God, what the heck? Now, right behind this little cabin, there was kind of like a berm. It was up against a berm, of higher ground. So the only thing that could have gotten up there was something that could have like been on that land and jumped up. Um, and really, there was no big animals up there except for mountain lions and black bears. And I don't think a black bear could have possibly jumped onto the roof. So I am fairly certain that it was a mountain lion that jumped on my roof. And I can tell you, when you're like in your cabin all by yourself and there's something big like a lion walking around above your head, you're like, oh my God. So it was a very eerie feeling to be that close to one and have it be curious about me and wanted to check it out. So my third experience, this was years later, after I had become a wildlife biologist, and this was in Arizona. All these experiences have been in Arizona. Um, I was hiking down a canyon on my way to look. I was looking for spotted owl nests, and some of the owl territories we had were in canyons that had bigger trees, but they were canyons, and it was places that mountain lions could be. And as I was hiking down this canyon, I was, by myself. This was back in the day when they let you just go by yourself all day long and do surveys, and it was okay to do that. Um, but all of a sudden, I had the most eerie feeling as if something big was watching me. And whatever it was big, like they were a predator and I was the prey. And the hair on the back of my neck stood up, literally. And it was the only time in my life I've ever experienced a feeling like that. And, and I've been around bears and other things out in the forest in different places as I've been working, but that's the only time I ever felt like that. And I never saw anything, and I didn't have a bad experience that day, but I certainly felt at a certain point in where I was walking through this area that something big was watching me, and I believe that it probably was the mountain lion. So I feel it was a really memorable experience. Probably one I would never want to do again, but nothing ever happened. So if it was a mountain lion, they left me alone, and I was happy for that. So my final experience was another time I was hiking down a different canyon by myself looking for spotted owl nests once again. And as I was going down this, I was going down a series of like drop offs as I was going down this mountain into this canyon. So it'd be like a little steep drop off, and then it would be a flat area, and a little steep drop off, and a flat area. And so, as I was kind of making my way down this one place like that, I kept finding a bunch of hair, and I was like, "What is this?" And it looked like it was elk hair, like something had happened to an elk. And finally, after going down about four of these, I went down into this one drop off that was kind of a flat area, and there was a lot of bones laying around, and there was a lot of elk hair, and there was a dead coyote, and there was a cave. And the cave was not something, it was pretty big, but it was not something you could just like, it was on ground level that you could just like walk into or crawl into. It was up a little higher on a ledge, like about 5 feet up. So whatever was using that cave had to be able to jump up into it. And so I was feeling quite certain that I had just stumbled across a mountain lion's den where it had, killed different animals and dragged them up close by its cave entrance. And I had no idea if there was the mountain lion in the cave at that moment because I'm looking right at it, or if it was around watching me. So that was an extremely eerie feeling. And once again, I had no idea where this animal was or what it was going to do or not do. So I quickly got out of there and tried to avoid that area altogether on my way out. And, the whole day I was wondering, okay, is this thing watching me, following me? What's going to happen here? So it was quite an experience. Once again, I never saw anything. So mountain lions have given me some very memorable experiences, and yeah, some of maybe the most memorable experiences I've had dealing with wildlife, even though, like I say, I've only seen a mountain lion's butt one time. That was it. But I thought about what are the different lessons that I have learned from mountain lions, or what can they teach us? And so here's some of the things that I thought about. I think mountain lions really can teach us lessons about courage and confidence, and about the importance of facing challenges with inner strength and conviction. I think they teach us patience and strategic action, because they exhibit a lot of patience when they're stalking their prey, and they symbolize lessons in strategic waiting and timing as far as life's endeavors. They can teach us lessons in independence and self reliance. And they're very solitary creatures. And they emphasize the value of being independent and being self reliant in your own personal journey. They can teach us about awareness and intuition. They have very acute senses, and they teach us lessons about using your own heightened awareness and trusting your intuition when navigating the unseen, which I certainly felt like I was doing a lot of that when I was in their territories. And the fifth thing is they teach us about adaptability and stealth. They're very adaptable hunters. They're adaptable to different types of environments, and they move through life with stealth and grace. And so when I created this card, this piece of art that went on a digital oracle card, the message that I put with the card, which is kind of a summary of everything that I learned and felt about these lands, is mountain lion wisdom. Know when to move quietly after what you want with stealth and grace. Exhibit patience, strategic waiting, and timing in life's endeavors. Rely on your acute senses and trust your intuition when navigating the seen or unseen. Embody courage and confidence, facing challenges with inner strength and conviction. So that's the story behind this art. And next I'm going to show you a design that I created of a room with this art to show you how you could use it in your own space. And by doing so, you're helping to attract to yourself some of the qualities of the mountain lion. And I hope you've enjoyed my mountain lion stories, and I hope you enjoy these design ideas. So thank you for being here.